Namaskar. Very warm welcome to all our viewers and learners in this very special session of CIET NCERT named MANODARPAN Paricharcha. I am Renu Bhatt with you all and you are watching us live on eVidya channels, channel number 6 and 11. And apart from all those channels, you are with us on our YouTube channel as well, that is NCERT Official. Dear learner, what is MANODARPAN Paricharcha? Let me give you a brief about this initiative. This is very special initiative of Ministry of Education as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan for providing psychosocial support to all our students out there, parents and teachers across the country. And what is the topic for the Paricharcha? Let me tell you that. The topic that we are going to discuss today in this specific session is education for 21st century skills. And we are moving ahead in times. We are developing so many things, we are having advanced technology, so why not education and why not skills? So we can have 21st century education. So what are those particular skills? Our experts are there to throw light on this. Let's meet them. But before we meet them, let me tell you few and certain information in case you have any query, any doubt. You can reach out to us through our various mediums. You can call us on telephone number, that is 8800 440 559, and we have our special dedicated website in case you want to know more about MANODARPAN Paricharcha, that is www.manodarpan.education.gov.in. And if you have joined us through our live streaming on Facebook, that is NCERT, this is our very special page, FB page. And besides all those mediums, you can call us on our national tele helpline number, that is MANODARPAN National Tele Helpline number, that is 844-844-0632. And as you know, we have so many mediums to reach out to us, and we are expecting your participation because we bring this very special session just for you students and teachers out there. And let's quickly meet our experts. You are Professor Balaida R. Dakha. You are professor from NIRI, Shillong. Very warm welcome, ma'am. Namaskar.
Namaste and a very good afternoon to one and all, and to you also, Ms. Renu Bhatt.
Yes, thank you so very much, ma'am. Pleasure is all ours. But before we start this particular session, MANODARPAN Paricharcha, let me share a very important piece of information regarding India's G20 presidency. We are indeed very proud that India assumed G20 presidency and will convene the G20 Leaders Summit for the first time in the country in 2023. A nation that deeply committed to democracy and multilateralism, India's G20 presidency would be a watershed moment in her history as it seeks to play an important role by finding pragmatic global solutions for the well-being of all. And in doing so, manifests the true spirit of Vasudha Kutumbakam, or we can say the whole world is one family. With that very important piece of information, let's quickly get back to the session in which we are going to discuss about the topic education for 21st century skills. So Professor Balaida ma'am, what are those skills? We would love to know about all of them, but we have our esteemed panelists with us. Please introduce them to us, ma'am.
Okay, thank you once again, Ms. Renu Bhatt, and a very good afternoon again to everyone and all the viewers. As mentioned by Ms. Bhatt, we have a very interesting topic to discuss, that is on education for 21st century skills. So it's an in-thing in the field of education, and when it comes to, the NEP recommendations, they do recommend, on the 21st century skills. So at the outset, I have with us a very expert panelists to deliberate on this topic and to share their experience and expertise. So we have Dr. Seema R. She's the assistant professor from NERI, NCERT, Shillong. Dr. Seema R.
Namaste. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, then we have Mr. Rajiv Lalu. He's the assistant lecturer from Lady King College, Shillong. Mr. Lalu.
Hello, ma'am. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you. And we also have Mrs. Ruchira Gupta. She's a lecturer, Diet Kachar from Assam. Mrs. Ruchira.
Good afternoon. Namaste, everyone. Thanks for inviting me in this particular program. Thank you.
Thank you. And also we have Dr. Hannah Banayat Sora, Meghalaya.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you very much for having me in your program.
So thank you all. So I welcome all the panelists once again to this live session, the MANODARPAN Paricharcha. So to begin with, and before I invite each one of you to speak on this topic, I would like to, quickly add one thing here. See, to enable our students to cope, and succeed in facing the different life's challenges. It is the need of the hour, and also, it's high time, I feel, to make them aware on the 21st century skills in order to bring about holistic development, as NEP 2020 has recommended among our students. And what is also equally important is that we need to equip, our students with these 21st century skills. So I hope that, the deliberations and the discussions from this sessions, I hope that we will, be able to equip our students with these 21st century skills. So before, without much ado, now I request Dr. Seema R to kindly share her thoughts on the need and importance of the 21st century skills in the present educational scenario, and also with reference to the NEP 2020. So before that, I would also like to, to remind all the panelists that you have 18 to 20 minutes time, each one of you, to, to share your views and your thoughts on this topic. Dr. Seema R, please.
Yeah, thank you. Education, the main purpose of education is to protect and nurture child's intelligence. So it is the duty of, as teachers, it is our duty to equip them with all the skills, values, and knowledge which is being provided in the school education system. That being a school student, they are already equipped with the basic knowledge, but how do they apply in their real life is the main issue. When we were in school days, hardly we remember the scores and marks which we have obtained, but we do remember the experiences which we got through exhibitions, excursions, activities, performances, study tours, etc. This is because of the experience that we gained and the skills which we have developed. So, more the experience to the child, more will be the skills developed. NEP 2020, as we all know, is focusing on competency-based education. We all are focusing more on the content till now. So it's time for us to move from content-based to competency-based education. Competency-based education refers to not only the knowledge, but also the attitude, skills, and the value. This is a combination of all these three, so that the child become competent enough to face the challenges of life. NEP 2020 is also focusing on promoting holistic learners and holistic development of each and every individual. For this, it is very important to design or choose a group of skills which need to be equipped or imbibed by the child to face the challenges of 21st century. 21st century skills are those skills which help them or enable them to face the challenges, as we said, in this 21st century world, which is globally active and digitally transforming. Moreover, it is creatively progressing nowadays and collaboratively moving forward and seeking human resources who are competent enough and quickly adapting to changes. So these are the requirements in front. To review upon, in 1996, International Education Commission DLR's report mentions three major pillars of learning. This is learning to know, learning to do, and learning to be. Here they are focusing on how to take up the knowledge part to the application through the skill development. Here comes the importance of skill. Skills are the basic ability to perform a task in a competent way, or it is a capacity to do an activity well. Develop this is the major question. Skill can be developed through practice and patience. So continuous practice of skills will make the child enabled to face the challenges of day-to-day life. UNICEF defines skill as a behavioral development or behavioral modification by channelizing three major areas, that is the knowledge, attitude, and the skill. So the combination of all the three will make a child or increase the child's potentialities to face the day-to-day problems. World Health Organization in 1996 mentioned a group of 10 core skills, which they called it as the life skills. There are n number of skills which we can take upon. Broadly, we can group them into three: learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. So in brief, if you choose it based on the situation, in brief, we can take up 10 core skills and group it into three as far as school education is concerned. The first is the thinking skills. In thinking skills, we have the creativity skills, critical thinking skill, decision making, and problem solving. Under the social skills, we have empathy, self-awareness, interpersonal skills, and effective communication skills. The last one is the coping skill, which is very, very important in the present scenario for school children. The two coming under coping skills are coping with stress and coping with emotions. Now, when we group these or select these skills, it has different nature too. Some skills are psychomotor in nature, some skills are psychosocial in nature, and some skills are psycho-emotional. So NEP 2020 is talking about holistic development, for which these 21st century skills are vital. So it is our duty to take up these skills, practice, inculcate in the pedagogy, and practice it in the classroom, and make the child imbibe those. And those continuous practice will help the child to make it as a behavioral outcome. Now coming to the thinking skills, which is very, very important for a child right from the foundational stage, is the critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, and decision making. These thinking skills are very, very important. Critical thinking means that taking up an information and seeing it in an objective manner. It needs an open mind, and we have to be fair without any preconceived notion. Creativity, in fact, is another skill where the student or the child need to look at things in a new perspective or a fresh perspective and give a new idea to it based on the experiences gained. Coming to problem solving, it is a skill where a person need to study the problem, the causes of it, and find out a proper solution. And the decision making is one of the, again, most important, where we have to choose between the right and wrong. Here requires cognitive thinking on the cause effect, and the consequences before taking any kind of decision. These are the major thinking skills coming under WHO core skills of thinking. Now, coming to the social skills, these are the skills which help a child to work together, to live together in a society. So, these are psychosocial in nature: empathy, self awareness, interpersonal skills, and effective communication. Self awareness means to know about our own strength and weakness and move accordingly to improve upon. Empathy is nothing but to understand, being sensitive towards others, seeing from others' point of view, and understand their feelings and emotions. Being empathetic is also very important to work in group. Interpersonal skills are basically to maintain healthy relationships among people around. Mutual understanding, mutual sharing of ideas, collaborative work, etc. Effective communication is another important skill. Not just speaking. Here we have to be a very good listener first. So listening and speaking are equally important to become effective communication, and then expressing our feelings through written or verbal or non-verbal gestures. Coming to the last one, that is the coping skills. We have coping with stress and coping with emotions. Coping with stress means under peer pressure or adolescent related problem, children are facing a lot of stress due to many reasons. So we have to equip them to cope up with those stress by studying the problem, what are the causes and how do I overcome, how do I cope up with the situation and how do I come out of that. Coping with emotions is rather a big issue nowadays because children are not able to control their emotions. The emotions change their behavior in fact. So this skill is very, very important to make the child equipped to study the emotions, not to take over the behavioral changes. The WHO has found these 10 core skills which are grouped under thinking, social, and coping skills. NEP 2020 is focusing upon holistic development, and these skills play a vital role in that, as I said. All the three domains of education, as we know, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains, have to be taken care of. So there is still a gap existing in the present scenario of rote learning and learning without understanding, and still being in a knowledge gaining system. So it's time for us to move away from this stagnant knowledge-based learning or rote learning. So these 21st century skills are very, very important so that we can attain all the dimensions of education, cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domains. Skills are capacity, as we said, of a student. After their school education, they will be reaching their higher education system where they are going to be benefited. The P21, that is Partnership for 21st Century Skills, it is a group of business leaders and educators. They have identified all these skills which is very much required for the students to take up different types of careers. These skills include something related with health, civic responsibilities, environmental skills, and the basic core subject skills which we teach in the classroom. So the the classroom process or the pedagogical process in the classroom should be taken care of in inculcating these skills among the children. NEP 2020, focusing on the holistic development, is also talking about the importance of integrated learning system. Art integrated learning, sports integrated learning, ICT based, all these multidisciplinary learning pedagogies will help the teachers inculcating different types of skills. So to sum up, I would like to say that 21st century skills are those which are skills which are very, very important for the children to be equipped with, which will enable them to face the challenges of 21st century world. And they are going to, since they are going to enter a career which has not been invented yet, and they are going to use technologies which has not been invented yet. So it's our duty to equip them with all these 21st century skills through classroom transactions, different types of pedagogical approaches, etc. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sima R. And for, you have brought in your presentation the different kinds of skills, from learning skills to literary skills to life skills. You have elaborated them all also, and also the sub skills within those broad skills. So you have also highlighted on the, on moving from, yes, we are moving now from content to competency, and we need to make our learners to be competent enough, with to face different challenges. And also, what is also important, which you have brought in here in the discussion, is how to develop these skills. So you have also focused on the partnership between business leaders and education. Yes, that is also very relevant and pertinent in this 21st century, when we are talking about, vocational education, about skills development. So thank you for your presentation. And now moving on to the second panelist, we have with us Mr. Rajiv Lalu. He's an assistant lecturer psychology department from Lady King College Law, and he will we would like to use to highlight on the psycho-emotional aspects of the 21st century skills. So I invite you, sir, to kindly highlight on this topic.
Okay, thank you so much for having me, ma'am. First of all, I would like to also thank Ms. Seema for that detailed explanation of the elaboration on the various 21st century skills. I would like to begin by, I think, stating, claiming that actually being a teacher in the 21st century is very demanding and challenging, and which is not a bad thing, because I think teaching any profession, for that example, for that purpose, should be challenging, because when we hear about achievements of our students, it's more fun and gratifying in that manner, right? Any teacher who says teaching is an easy job, I doubt if the learning process is actually beneficial for their students, because I think teaching should inherently be a challenging activity or an experience, right? And also something, but that is, general known fact, right? But something which we are not, used to understanding or accepting is that teaching is also a very emotional activity. It's a inherently emotional activity, and something that we have to discuss, right? So traditionally, in traditional classrooms, and unfortunately even now in many classrooms, as a student and a teacher, I've noticed most of our classrooms are very teacher centric. So the teacher enters the classroom and is the focal point of the classroom, and he or she disperses a huge amount of information on the child or on the students, and the students are expected to somehow retain all the facts that they are given in classrooms and somehow regurgitate them in exams and in their tests, right? So this is how we measure their academic achievement, which I think has resulted in some success stories, but whether it has truly produced valuable, emotionally and socially strong, independent individuals, that is a question that needs to be discussed, right? So I think the first important point that we have to realize is, as teachers, emotions play a very vital role in the learning process. Sorry, one sec. Am I audible though? I'm not being able to see myself again. Anyways,
Carry
okay.
on.
So yes, no, it's fine now. So even in the past, right, during the Platonic age, it was realized that learning should be a very pleasurable activity, where the students are happy, where the students feel part of the school, and how much of the quality of their interpersonal relationship influence their academic performance. These are things that we have to understand. The evidence of such issues is centered on the understanding that students pass most of their time in school context, and schools should not only be a place for academic acquisition, but also be an environment conducive to the development of their personal, social, and emotional skills. And in addition, I think neuroscience also defends this by saying that learning is essentially emotional, and without emotion, there is no curiosity, no attention, no learning. So, in the field of emotions, it is possible to state that the basis of learning is emotion. Emotion has a strong effect on learning. Positive emotions can arouse students' engagement and promote the acquisition of academic skills, while negative emotions can distract students and hinder learning. So, in this context, it should be noted that the teacher's emotions also have a significant consequence on their students' emotions. Now, like I said earlier, teaching is a very demanding activity, and it requires hard emotional work. Since teachers frequently have to manage many emotional situations simultaneously in classrooms, the teacher provides students with emotional support, promotes a stimulating classroom environment, and manages disruptive behavior effectively during the teacher and learning process. So consequently, emotional challenges often origins distress, frustration, emotional exhaustion, and turnover in tension. Therefore, the ability to use emotional processes adaptively or to be emotionally intelligent is a fundamental skill for all teachers and students, as educational work also includes knowing how to be empathetic and emotionally support students, whether in classroom work as well as with their problems. That way, teachers have to know how to express and manage emotions correctly during classrooms, as well as knowing how to recognize and identify students' emotions. So, given the centrality of emotions to teaching and learning process, to be able to develop effective teaching practice, emotionally educate students, and remain emotionally healthy, teachers need to learn to be emotionally intelligent. From my own experience, what we have in our school, right, in our Lady school, we have started a mentoring program. Now, this is not groundbreaking in any way because many schools have this system in place where they have a mentoring program where either student mentors are assigned to students, or a teacher mentor is assigned. So in our school, we have assigned teachers as mentors to our students. But in what way is it different is because we allow our students to come up to us and discuss what are the various ways in which we can improve on their learning experience. So they sit with us and collaborate on whether visual aids will help for a certain topic, whether lecturing would help on a certain topic, and the duration of a classroom, or what kind of assessment method would be more beneficial for understanding concepts in classroom. So in this way, like Ms. Seema was saying earlier, the 4 C's of the learning skills, right, that has been categorized by the 21st century skills, we are allowing our students to collaborate in their own learning process. So that way they feel like they are stakeholders in their own learning processes. We are also encouraging communication. So students come and communicate with us. So, sir, this is not helping out. Maybe we should change the way we are conducting these classroom sessions so we can benefit more from a particular classroom. So this is what we are doing. And I think we already know the ingredients for change. So, I mean, thankfully, our policies now are reflecting this, where we are focusing on holistic education and realizing the importance of social emotional learning. But I think mostly it on an individual level, I think teachers have to realize it's mostly about change in perspective. When we enter a classroom, we have to make it student centric rather than teacher centric. We should allow our students to be part of our classroom, feel like they are stakeholders in their own learning processes. They should also be able to communicate what are the different kinds of learning processes or methods which can be used, which will help them to understand these skills. And also another thing I'd like to focus here is on many times, unwittingly, of course, many teachers and even parents sometimes, label children as either being good or bad, or intelligent or not intelligent. So what we have to change here is we have to learn to separate a behavior from an individual. Their identity should not be based on their behavior sometimes, because behaviors are problematic, not the student. If you are already labeling a student as good or bad, you're kind of defeating the purpose of changing, because changing a person is an extremely difficult task. But changing a behavior might be something that we as teachers and mentors can do in classrooms. So this is there. So I have realized through because as a teacher for all these years, I've realized that most of the times, if we separate students from their behavior and focus on improving the behavior, the child slowly learns to develop certain skills which allows them to see their behavior as problematic as well, and help, rather than seeing themselves as being problematic, they identify, oh, these are the problem areas where I have to change, right? So they do not identify as themselves as being bad or good or less intelligent or depressed, rather they see their behavior as being problematic, and this gives them encouragement to see it as an outside problem which can be resolved. So I'm not summing it up, but I would like to maybe listen to others panelists also, and ma'am, if I could request, if I've not used all of my time, maybe I can respond to and come back to speak later, or use the remainder of my time later after I listen to other panelists also. So I would sum it up by saying that what, on an individual level, what teachers and parents have to do is change their perspective and remove themselves from the situation they are in when dealing with students, and try to change their perspective about how the learning process is being conducted in classrooms, and move away from the traditional role of a teacher or traditional role of a parent, and try to inculcate habits and behaviors in classrooms or at home, or in any student adult situations, where we can help students develop the skills by making them participants in their own learning process. That is what I wanted to focus on today. And I think Ms. Seema also said that she did iterate that emotions do play an important role in education, especially after COVID pandemic. The COVID actually was added to the reality, which contributed more to the emotional wear and tear of everyone involved in the teaching process. So moreover, in the school context, teachers are the main emotional leaders of students, and their ability to perceive, understand, and regulate students' emotions and their own is the best index of classroom's emotional balance. So with that, I would like to end my session, but I would be honored if you could allow me a chance to respond to other panelists also.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Lalu. And you have, elaborating on the importance of child-centered learning, and also reminding us all on the importance of emotions as well as values, which is the center of learning. So you have also highlighted on the different, how through emotions, it leads to development of various skills, and also few of your life experiences also you have shared. So I hope it will somehow it will penetrating to our students in equipping, and also not to forget our teachers. Teachers, we have to remember that yes, values, emotions are also equally important to develop among our students. So moving on to the next panelists, we have with us Mrs. Ruchira Gupta. I would like to invite Mrs. Gupta to throw us some light on 21st century skills through early childhood stage. With NEP 2020 giving much importance on the foundational stage, it is the right time, to start off very early to equip our students with the 21st century skills. So now I invite Mrs. Gupta to talk on the importance of 21st century skills right from the early stage.
Thank you, ma'am. Uh, at the very outset, I would like to thank our Seema ma'am and Rajiv sir for their lucid and highly informative presentation. So let me share my screen. Okay, I think it's visible.
Yes, ma'am, it's quite
Yeah.
visible, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you. So I would like to again thank Rajiv Lalu sir as he had began his presentation with the saying that this is the high time for us being the 21st century teachers. This is very challenging for us to cope up with various kinds of demands of this century. Again, to cope up these demands or to meet these demands, what we need is the 21st century skills. So the earlier we begin, it would be easier for us to achieve these skills, to develop the competencies so that we can meet these demands. So my presentation would be focusing on 21st century skills and how we can inculcate these skills through the very early childhood. As Seema ma'am had already mentioned that we have got three types of skills, three sets of skills under 21st century skills. These are the learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. Again, under these three sets, we have got the corresponding subsets. Like learning skills have got critical thinking and problem solving, creativity and innovation, then communication, collaboration. Again, literacy skills have got media, information, and technology skills. And finally, the life skills which she had mentioned from the 10 life, 4 life skills we have taken up here, 5 very basic life skills which are to be inculcated in all the individuals. These are flexibility and adaptability, leadership and responsibility, initiative and self-direction, productivity and accountability, social and cross-cultural interaction. Now, when we come to the early childhood education and the focus in nowadays, the focus is on foundational literacy and numeracy. We get to see that we have got 5 developmental domains in early childhood. These are the cognitive and mental development, then physical and motor development, language and communication, social and emotional, creativity and aesthetic development. And in these 5 developmental domains, we are trying to achieve 3 major developmental goals which have been identified by Vidya Pravesh as well as the Nipun Bharat Mission. These are that these development goals seek to achieve that children maintain good health and well-being, they become effective communicators, and finally they become involved learners and connect with their immediate environment. I think we know all about all this. And when we compare these developmental domains or development goals with the 21st century skills, we come across this, that we find that the learning skills of critical thinking and problem solving, these are closely connected with cognitive and mental developmental domain. Then we have got the learning skill of communication, the literacy skills of media, information and technology, which can be closely associated, which are actually closely connected with the developmental goal of language and communication at the early childhood. Then we have got collaboration, which is a learning skill, along with the 5 other life skills like flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social relationship. These are closely and directly connected with social and emotional skills. Now, the last one, which is a learning skill, is creativity and innovation. We can include it in the developmental goal or the developmental domain of creativity and aesthetic development in early childhood. Now, we have identified these skills and the connection between developmental goals and these 21st century skills. Now, what we need to do. Hello? Uh,
Yes, ma'am, please continue.
there was a kind of somebody was talking. Anyway, now since we have identified how these things are connected, now this is as a teacher or as a teacher educator, our primary role is that we have to identify where to provide the correct stimulation at the very early age of the children. The earlier we begin, the better it will be for the children to achieve and accumulate those skills so that they can meet the demands of the changing needs of the society. So these are very important for us. Now, what we can do, we can identify some strategies, we can design some activities and learning experiences for the children, for the preschoolers, so that these skills of 21st century can be easily obtained by them. Now, these These are the sets of the skills. Again, learning literacy, and in the next slide we have got the life skills. Under these sets, we have got the subsets of skills. We have the focus areas where we have to design the experiences or the stimulation and the corresponding activities so that it becomes easy for the children to achieve these skills or and inculcate in the skills among them so that they can just do well. They can so that we can assure the holistic development of these children and they can do well in all the areas of their life. So the first one is the learning skill, where the first skill is communication, critical thinking and problem solving. For that, we have to focus on stimulation of their curiosity. And again, for this, we can design the activities which are in the form of puzzles, then various kind of problems. Here, under FLM, we can design some mathematical problems too. Then we can design some questions for them so that they get the inquisitiveness to answer this to find the answers to these questions, so that we can stimulate their mind to know something new. Then again comes the learning skill of creativity and innovation. For that, we need to ignite their imagination. So how can we do that? We can design activities like manipulative play, then pretend play, then art integrated activities. As Seema ma'am had mentioned, that now we are focusing on different kinds of integration, art integration, then value integration, then we have got all the integrated tasks and integrative design of curriculum now coming up. So we can take help from those type of contents and materials to design activities which ignite the imagination of the children. Now we can also build stories also from their own imagination. Then comes the learning skill of effective communication. So for that we can, that is so obvious that our first and primary focus should be print rich and language rich environment. So how can we do that? We can inspire them, we can instigate them to talk, to say about the experiences they had there in their home and whatever they had experienced, whatever they have seen while coming to the school. And they can be encouraged to build stories and whatever stories they are listening from their grandmothers, grandfathers, or their parents, they can share all these things to them, to us. And also idea sharing, picture reading. These are the very effective techniques and activities which we can design for encouraging them to develop this communication skill amongst them. Then we have got the skill of collaboration. For that, we need to do some kind of works like we need to provide them group projects, role play, group games, then the celebration of various observation days, so that they can develop the interpersonal skills amongst themselves. They develop the skill of sharing and caring. Now, coming to the next one, the next set of skills, that is the literacy skills. We have got three subsets like information, media, and technology. Now, the children need to, they have to be empowered. They must know what should they do, what they should take up and what should there are the various kinds of information. There are some information they can take up and some other information they should not just take up. So for that, we have to encourage this deductive reasoning, digital literacy, and research mindedness. Now, how we can inculcate this particular skill in them? We can design the activities like analyze, how to analyze information, how to access, analyze, and evaluate various kind of sources of information, then how to use the digital devices, various kinds of smart devices we had used. And we had seen that during the pandemic period, the children are getting exposure to various kinds of devices. Now, how they are using it, we have to give a training on them. We have to keep an eye on them as the teachers as well as the parents or the stakeholders. Now, how we have nowadays all the children are using smartphones, but don't know how to use the emergency number in case of any emergency. How they can contact somebody who is reliable. We have to teach them, we have to train them and show them how they can use this particular thing. Then age appropriate apps, interactive learning tools, this can be used. Now, when they are getting exposure to digital media and online resources, now there is the high need to encourage them or to make them aware about the various the myths and methods of cyber security, because there are various cases of various kinds of problems which the children are when getting across. So there is a high need for orientation on POXO Act to the guardians as well and to the children, and how they can safely use internet and media through it. For that, they need to be oriented about cyber security also. Now, if we go to the next one, this was the life skills, which are the this one the flexibility and adaptability, leadership and responsibility, initiative and self-direction, productivity and accountability, social and cross-cultural interaction. As a whole, we can focus on the various areas, like there should be we can inculcate the basic discipline, etiquette, then manners. They should as a whole be socially acceptable. For that, we need to design the activities and experiences in the form of various inputs, like we can ask them while during the recess period, we can ask them to share their tiffin, their belongings, their chocolate. Then we can inculcate the various skills related to self-help, then rotation in sitting arrangement. This will bring them out of their comfort zone, and they will be developing friendship with others from not just the peer with which he is sitting every day, but he or she should develop friendship and good relationship with other students also who are there in their class and beyond the classes also. So we should design activities like that only. And again, the project work, cleanliness drive, kitchen gardening, participation in annual programs and observation days, and participation in community work, all these things will develop all these life skills in the children. So if these are the various activities and the focus areas we must remember while designing the activities and experiences for the children, so that they can develop the skills of 21st century. And again, we have to remember all that there are various other things, there are various strategies while designing the experiences, which we must remember that the activities should be designed based on play-based learning. Then this should involve project-based activities. Then technology can be largely used, as we have seen during COVID period, and why not beyond that? We can use technology beyond that also. Then inquiry-based learning, which enhances their curiosity and inquisitiveness. Then communication and collaboration, real-world connection. They are learning their experiences, their activities connected with their world, their immediate environment. Then emotional intelligence development, and then parent and community involvement. The involvement of stakeholders is highly important. Here we have mentioned only about the school-based activities, but at home I would like to this is the platform where I would like to mention that why just this 21st century skills. We have to focus on developing the survival skills as well amongst the children, which also are coming in this which are actually integrated with 21st century skills. We can develop these survival skills by engaging the children in various kinds of activities at the home level also, because if we engage them, we are not talking about engaging them as a child labor, but they can be engaged in assisting the persons who are back at home, like in various activities like making their bed, then doing the laundry, then then self-help skill, then dusting, then washing utensils, then watering plants. These basic things, these basic activities, here we can engage the children in various ways. We don't need to give them too much workload, but they can just assist the others, so that they can develop a kind of it is our duty that the children should develop the dignity of labor, and they should respect each other. The work, education, and other types of SUPWs, socially useful productive work, this should also come under the skills and the activities which we would like to inculcate among them for developing the 21st century skills in the foundational stage. So along with the school-based activities, I suggest that home-based activities are equally important, which would also develop a kind of, along with 21st century skills, they will develop survival skills as well. Now, while designing all these activities, we must consider certain points. We must remember that the entire activities and the learning experiences of the children through which we are trying to develop any kind of skills must ponder on certain particular, certain specific points. Like they should be based on their experiences. Experiential learning, the methodology, the philosophy of experiential learning should be strictly adhered to. Then they should be made ready to receive the knowledge or the stimulus, so that it becomes easier for them to take up the things, to learn the things. Then it should be relevant to their real life experiences. Then the activities, whatever we design, this should be effective. Means they must get a kind of satisfaction after doing the activity. Then comes relaxation. If we overburden the children with inputs in any form, like academic or in any kind of activity or home-based activities, they will not be able to cope up with all these things. They will be overburdened. So we must make sure that they are stress-free. So in order to make them stress-free, we must follow the principle of relaxation as well. The association, it means that the current knowledge, whatever knowledge we are going to give them, it must be related to their previous knowledge and experiences. And then active involvement, the activities, whatever we design, we must assure, we must see that everyone is participating. Then innovation, like it is the fact that we must design all the experiences and activities which are new to them. Repeating the same kind of thing every day, they will feel bored. So it is very much desirable that the teacher or the teacher educator or primary caregiver, whoever it is, they must experiment. They must come up with new experiences for the children. And then comes the feedback. Means that we must, whenever a child accomplishes a particular task, we must provide them positive reinforcement in the form of feedback. So he or she will be happy and will be encouraged to perform this activity, and his or her knowledge will also be retained, and also they will be feeling, they will feel encouraged to apply the knowledge in their practical life. And finally, we must always remember that there are individual differences. The same thing does not fit all. So it is the duty of the primary caregiver as well as the teacher, as well as the teacher educator, to design the experience and activities so we can give need based. This must be we must follow the principle of equity then rather than equality. After following all these principles, we must design the activities and experiences which I had already mentioned, that these activities will help them and enable them to develop and achieve the 21st century skills, so that he or she can meet the demands of the society, demands of the family, and we can, as a teacher educator, we can assure that the holistic development is taking place in the children, and they can move to lead a better life and to create a more sustainable and a happier society and nation as a whole. This is all from my part, and I would like to listen to the next panelist, and we will be coming back if there is any question. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ruchira Gupta, for highlighting on the importance of starting early, and also I will also agree with you that yes, we could achieve the different kinds of skills by by applying different kinds of activities, and also the different kinds of strategies. If we can do, which you have listed out, various kinds of activities, different kinds of strategies. Yes, our pedagogical approach to the children has to change. And also I hope and I believe that if we could we could take up those strategies, those activities which you have suggested. I hope that we will not only achieve foundational literacy and numeracy at the foundational stage, but also we will be able to equip our children with the 21st century skills. So you have highlighted the different developmental goals, the focus areas, the different skills at this stage, and also the different activities and different strategies. So thank you so much. I hope it will be very beneficial to the students as well as the teachers, especially to really, take it up these activities and strategies in a very true sense in order to equip our children with the 21st century skills. And also equally important at this stage is to achieve foundational literacy and numeracy. So now we move on to the next of Dr. Hana Balahun Karbuki. I would like to invite Dr. Hana to enlighten us on the vision of adolescents, on how to prepare adolescents for the future, and also to highlight on the different kinds of programs and activities under ECCE and FLN, and also during adolescence education, and also the role of teachers and parents in with reference to the 21st century skills. So Dr. Hannah, if you can kindly start your presentation.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to highlight some of the important regarding with the 21st century skills. One of the most important is that adolescence and life skills. Adolescence can be defined in numerous ways. According to the definition given by WHO, the term adolescence is used for all individuals in the age group of 10 to 19 years. This adolescent period, it is a period of rapid changes in terms of physical, emotional, behavioral changes and other. Therefore, it is also regarded as a period of stress and storm, or it is also a rebellious period. Therefore, understanding life skills and skill development is very important while dealing with adolescents. As Ma'am Sima has discussed regarding with those life skills, just to elaborate some of these life skills can be categorized by UNICEF, UNESCO, and the WHO, can be categorized under thinking skills, social skills, and also negotiation skills. Regarding with the thinking skills, like self-awareness, one of the important features is self-awareness. Sometimes we do not know about self, or students, they don't know about self. We, as human beings, we have strengths and weaknesses. Even students also, they should know about, they have strength and weaknesses in them. So what we have done regarding, we used to give them activity. We give them a piece of paper. Let the student write about the positive self. Suppose the student could write, I am beautiful, smart, intelligent, etc. But we used to tell them also to write the negative aspect. Sometimes the children, they write, I am angry, jealousy, not good in study, etc. Okay, by doing activity on self-awareness, it helps adolescents to know about self, and later how to inculcate good habits, good things in future with the guidance of teacher. Regarding with problem solving, I have one story. This story was told a long time ago, and this story regarding with problem solving, a story about a thirsty crow. All of us know about the thirsty crow. See, a thirsty crow flew all over the field looking for water. For a long time, it could not find any. It felt very weak, almost lost all hope. Suddenly it saw a water jug below the tree. It flew straight down to see if there was any water inside. Yes, it could see some water inside the jug. Because there's a problem with this crow. Then the crow tried to push his head into the jug. Sadly, he found that the neck of the jug was too narrow. Then it tried to push the jug to tilt for the water to flow out, but the jug was too heavy. See, the problem is faced by the crow. The crow thought hard for a while. It saw some pebbles. So it started picking up one pebbles, one after the other, by dropping each into the jug. As more and more pebbles filled the jug, the water level kept rising. Soon it was high enough for the crow to drink. Here we see there is a problem for the crow, and the crow make a decision. She make a decision, and that she has also a critical thinking what to do, because it wants to drink water, because it was thirsty, and she also had a creative thinking. So with this story, the story of a crow, with the right attitude and working smart, we can find a solution to the problem. This is called a problem solving. Regarding with the social skill, like interpersonal relationship, there should be a bond between two or more people. There should be an active listening both sides. We should stay positive at workplace. And then also students should adapt in different situations. That is about interpersonal relationship. And regarding with effective communication, words should be in a polite way. Words should please others. It should have a clear clarity with no room for understanding. It should be courteous, respect. This is for effective communication. And also, we should say no to any pressure. Remember, if you communicate in a way, in an assertive way, that means in a way that does not seem rude, hurt, and threatening to them. This is very important for effective communication regarding doing with adolescents. And then also we have to manage feelings and emotions of the adolescents. Most of the time we see adolescents angry. They don't have skills to deal with emotions. If we build a rapport, if we have an interaction with them, if we have a training how they will manage the feeling and emotions, I think the adolescents will one day will control the feelings and also the feeling of emotions. And also with coping with stress. Most of the time students, adolescents, they have problems, they have stress. They have to take to drugs and alcohol. See, even the adolescents at this time, they used to take drugs and alcohol. But when the life skills be introduced in school, I think it will help them how to cope with stress. Nowadays, we also have digital literacy skills. We don't say that digital literacy skill is very good, but no doubt there's a lot of false information. Therefore, it is very important to have a critical thinking skills to combat all the false information. That means to give a training to all adolescents to combat all the false information and to take whatever is needed for them. And also, sometimes adolescents choose the jobs which is not suitable or fit for them. Because it gives quick income, but has no future prospect. There should be a kind of awareness right from school. Example, we see nowadays class 12 students, after passing class 12, they do not have proper guidance. They wrongly choose subjects that are not suitable for them. Therefore, with the help of these life skills, teachers should guide them so that they will get satisfaction when they work. And also, we will see the role of the parents while dealing with adolescents. You know, parents regard their children as the treasures in their family. They wish that the future of their children be bright and happy. No one wants their child to become a nuisance to society. They take great care of them, feed them well, and always instill positive values in them. As time moves on, the child keeps on growing, and the relationship of the child with his parents keep on changing. Therefore, the bonding of the child with his parent is very, very important at this stage. What are the important for the parents to do with the adolescents at this stage? First of all, the parents should make friends with adolescents. At this age, peer pressure is stronger. Any problems, any difficulties, any opinions, first the adolescents will consult, will discuss with friends. Any bad, good things they will discuss with his friends. Therefore, parents at this time should make friends with them. Avoidance of parents at this stage is dangerous. How can parents make friends with children? Parents should make friends with children by creating the positive home environment. Find time, spare time to discuss with them, maybe while watching TV, while having dinner, storytelling, indoor games, family outing, shopping, should act, evening work. They should act as a guide, not as a dictator. Remember, parents should act as a guide, not as dictator. They should set a good example. In this way, children get the trust, the security in the homes. Parents also should encourage students or adolescents to study, talk about education, what subject they like best, should put more efforts to reach the goal. And also parents, it should have time to offer praise to child who are working hard. Create an atmosphere of honesty, mutual trust, and respect, not to escape responsibility. You know, lack of effective communication between parents and adolescents create barrier and could hinder children not to open up. And also at the same time, parents have to monitor the child's behavior, that they should prevent from mental health problems. Adolescents, sometimes they feel sad. They feel that there's no hope for them. But remember, at this point of time, when the adolescents feel sad, they feel hopelessness at this time, they take a risky behavior. Sometimes they took to alcohol, they took to drugs, they commit suicide also. Therefore, the bond of the parents, connection of the parents between parents and the adolescents should be consistent. And also we'll find that parents should inculcate good manners, good habit, avoid arguments, and eating healthy food. Remember that actions speak louder than words. These are some examples regarding the role of parents while dealing with adolescents. Now we see the role of a teacher while dealing with adolescents. Teachers should have a proper knowledge, remember, of adolescent psychology. They should know the needs of adolescents, the type of changes during adolescence. They should know the type of problems faced by adolescents. How should they be treated? Remember that proper adolescence education is very important in schools. How should they be treated in school? Teachers should talk about the menace of drugs, alcohol, HIV/AIDS, etc. I think curriculum for adolescent education is very important. And also, not only that, to provide vocational education, job-oriented is very important in school for adolescents to cope with. And prevent from doing anti-social work and rules-breaking activity, providing training on all life skills development. There should not underestimate adolescents. They must guide, motivate them to pursuing their future dream. What the teacher should do with the adolescents, they should sometimes take them for excursion, for a field trip. A good teacher can inspire hope and ignite the imagination. Language also should not be judgmental, should not be biased, should make rapport with the students. Remember that we teacher should respect the confidentiality and also respect values. Adolescents who are capable of excellence in sports, arts, music, and other should be encouraged to pursue their talents. Remember that teachers should not to talk down to their students based on their performance. We have to inspire in the sense that they will become successful in life. We should promote a healthy competition. Also, there should be advocacy. Nowadays, we see in newspaper, we have seen that some adolescents, they went to the school campus and distribute sweets freely. These sweets mixed with drugs, they distribute to children. Therefore, teachers should be alert of this kind of situation. They should be vigilant. School job means to harbor a good sense of morality, either socially, environmentally, and politically, to cultivate a mindset to do good, to help students to understand the vicious cycle of correction. Therefore, school curriculum is very important to help the adolescents to cope with this life situation. If all these values are indoctrinated into an adolescent, he or she will become an outstanding citizen of a country. She or will not become a burden to the family, to the country. This is no small task to accomplish. Sometimes an adolescent seems totally lost. An act of kindness, inspiration from parent or from teacher can turn his or her life around. We should strengthen education system so that it is needed, so that all adolescents, especially the most marginalized, can acquire skill that help them fulfill their potential. This is all about adolescents. But regarding with this adolescence education program, we have conducted right from the 2009 to 2010. We find that adolescence education program is very, very important to introduce in school. We should have life skills so that our students or adolescents should cope with the life situations that they face in everyday life. Therefore, I find that adolescence education program is very important subject to introduce in school. Apart from that, regarding with the new education policy 2020, we talk about ECC and FLN. We have conducted many training on ECC and FLN. How we see that the teachers, they feel that this subject is very, very important. I hope that this kind of programs regarding with ECC, FLN will help the teachers to help our students to fare better in life. I think with this point, we remember with the vision of the country, the future of our country depends on adolescents. Let us work hard to fulfill the mission to uplift our young people towards success, so that they will become a good citizen of our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hannah. You have elaborating on the life skills in particular, and also linking it to adolescent stage. Dr. Karbuki has also focused on the important role played by the parents as well as teachers at the adolescent stage. I hope with those practical examples, it will help the adolescents, children to acquiring the 21st century skills. And I do agree, if there is a strong bond between the teachers and students, between parents and children, it will really, bring in, in solving different kinds of issues and challenges, and also not only that, and also help our adolescents to cope up with different issues such as substance abuse, etc., etc. So there's so many issues related with adolescents that we And also, Dr. Hannah has also touched upon, the different programs under ECC and FLN. So thank you so much for your presentation, Dr. Hannah. I hope with all those, with what you have highlighted, it will really, make our students, especially the adolescents, to be able to acquire those skills which will make them face real life situations and different challenges in life. So now I would like to call upon Mr. Rajiv Lalu, if you have something to add, because again you want to come back. If you want 5-10 minutes, you can, add to what all the panelists has just said. Mr. Rajiv Lalu.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I just wanted to listen to our panelists also because I wanted to not maybe respond, but I wanted to listen, have a better idea of the 21st century skills as I was preparing yesterday, and I understand that the importance of these skills were realized as our world, there was a transition into a world of technology and information was so freely and so vastly available. I think. It was realized by educators and people from the government sectors and also from the private sector that a certain number of skills are requisite for students to be successful, not just in terms of academics or economics, but also in terms of their social well-being. And I agree with Dr. Kabuli when she said, parents and teachers have to be vigilant of any behavioral changes in their students. And I think, as an educator, one of the most frustrating thing I've experienced is when students say things in the line of, I don't understand, why are we even studying this subject? What is the point of studying this subject? I don't want to, how will it help me, right? And this is frustrating because as an educator, as a learner, and for a student also, I think we have to find a common ground where we can communicate and understand the importance of a skill, not just in their present circumstances, but how learning a subject or a skill can help them in their future life. So all this again comes back to the point that Ma'am Ruchira also made and Ma'am Seema made earlier, where we talked about the learning category of skills, which was collaboration and critical thinking and creativity and communication, because we have to encourage our children to develop the skills. And I think as teachers, we should not view this as an additional responsibility, because when I said earlier that teaching is a challenging job, is a challenging prospect, I do understand it is challenging, but we should not view it as stressful. And teachers may realize that sometimes it becomes stressful because we view the inculcating of these additional skills as an additional responsibility. But however, if we change our perspective and understand that as a teacher, inherently the job requires instilling these qualities or skills into our students, this has been a part of our job profile since the beginning of time. If we understand that, it becomes easier for us to grasp. Yes, it's because feeding information to students is not the only job of teachers, but we have to help our students understand concepts and grasp concepts. And I think it was Einstein who said education was not just about learning facts, but it was training the mind to think, right? So this is what we have to do with our students, allow them to be active participants in classrooms, help them think critically, communicate with them. Again, reiterating Dr. Kharbuli's point, we have to, especially with adolescents, because I personally teach adolescent students with higher secondary, and I was speaking on in terms of these settings where we encourage our students to be active members in classroom. And, if we make them a participant in classroom and ask them, how can we improve your learning process? So this gives an opportunity to practice, like Ms. Seema said earlier, it's about practicing these skills, right? So when we ask this question on how to improve your learning process in our classrooms, this gives them an opportunity to think critically and creatively, and this communication helps in collaborating. So I think the points made today were great, And again, I would like to also reiterate some of the points that I made earlier, that teaching should not be teacher-centric, rather the learning experience should be student-centric, and each student should feel like they are a part of a process which is helping them, deal with the pressures that come with being an adult. So in that manner, I would stress that emotional intelligence is one of the key skill that underlies under every other skill that we have discussed under the 21st century skill. Being self-aware is a very crucial, important skill, and not just for students, but in order for us to inculcate these in our students, teachers too have to be self-aware and aware of any behavioral changes in their students. In the 3 decades of any research on emotional intelligence, this has been the most important point made through all the research, that teaching activity involves teachers and any pedagogical practices to involve learning of emotional intelligence in classrooms. And with that, I think I've come to the end, ma'am, unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, sir. Balaida ma'am, here I would request you to conclude the session, ma'am.
Okay, so I would like to thank Professor Rajiv Lalu again for bringing in all the important points of what the panelists has just said. So let us train the our children's mindset has to change, and yes, not to forget the child-centered education. And also, what he has mentioned is the importance of the EQ, the emotional quotient, and also I'd like to add here is the social quotient, the emotional, the EQ and the SQ also are equally important. So to sum up, I would like to say that the 21st century skills are really required by our students for their holistic development, so that they can contribute to the development and as well as the advancement of the society, the nation in particular, and to the world as a whole. So I hope that these skills will be able to make our students face different challenges in life. So let us all join hands in equipping our students with these 21st century skills. So thank you once again. Thank you, Ms. Renu Bhatt. Over to you.
Thank you so very much, Professor Balaida ma'am, for your talk, and thank you so very much to all the panelists out there for your detailed information on our topic, that was education for 21st century skills. That was really very insightful session, and thank you so very much for sharing your views on this particular topic. Thank you so very much, sir and ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so very much. And thank you so very much, dear learners and viewers out there, for being with us throughout this session and for your huge number of comments. I would really appreciate your efforts if you send us your feedback as well on our email addresses, that is dth.class6@cit.nic.in. And apart from this email address, you can also send us your feedback on another email address, that is dth.class11@cit.nic.in. And before I wrap up this particular session, let me share a very important piece of information with you all regarding NCERT textbooks. NCERT textbooks for the year 2023-24 are available throughout the country, and these textbooks may be purchased directly from NCERT sales counters located at New Delhi, Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Kolkata and Guwahati. These sales counters will be functional on all the weekdays, including all the gazetted holidays, Saturdays and Sundays as well, from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. You may also place order for the books online from our website, that is ncertbooks.ncert.gov.in, and these books will be delivered at your doorsteps with no delivery fees. And in case if you want all the books in PDF version, it can also be downloaded online from NCERT, Diksha, ePathshala website and from our mobile app as well. Please visit our website ncert.nic.in to know more about the authorized vendors. With that note, me Renu Bhatt is taking your leave, but you stay tuned to eVidya channels and NCERT official YouTube channel for more informative programs. Namaskar.